Welcome to the Trader Career Track. We are now down to the last session of Day 3 of the Philippine Junior Finance and Investment Summit. The future starts now. And the last session also for the Trader Career Track. What better way to wrap up the career track by showing to all of you what a day of a trader looks like. To culminate the journey for your chosen track, the last breakout session will provide an overview of a trader's workday. Mr. Rod Christopher Barit will share his responsibilities as a trader. Mr. Barit is currently the Equity Central Dealer of Sun Life Canada. Prior to his role in Sun Life, he spent 2 years as an investment analyst and another 2 years as an associate portfolio manager for equity in Bank of the Philippine Islands Asset Management and Trust Group, now Asset Management Trust Corp. Mr. Barit first worked as a Jesuit volunteer for Eastern Twin Stars Foundation in 2011. He was assigned in Calauag, Quezon as a program officer for the Foundation's Social Enterprise Program and as a research coordinator for a microfinance study on e-money in frontier areas, funded by Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Mr. Barit received a bachelor's and master's in applied mathematics, major in mathematical finance from Ateneo de Manila University in 2010 and 2011, respectively. In recent years, he also became a certified financial risk manager of the Global Association of Risk Professionals and chartered market technician. In his spare time, he loves to climb mountains, join triathlon races, and create his personal finance Facebook page. Let's give a virtual round of applause for Mr. Rod Barit, CFA. To moderate this session, we have Mr. Edward Fernandez, CFA, PJFIS 2021 Committee Member at CFA Society Philippines. Let's give a virtual round of applause for Mr. Edward Fernandez, CFA. Are you all excited? I'm sure all of you are. The floor is yours, Ed.
Thank you, Glad. Hi, Rod. How are you this afternoon?
Hello. Good. Thank you
Good.
for inviting me.
Thank you then for coming here at PJFIS. Okay, to our audience, we will be having a Q&A discussion with Mr. Rod Barrett on his career as a trader. No. So if you have any questions during the discussion, please feel free to type them in the chat box, and we can raise them later. Okay. So Rod, that's a very interesting story. No, you started out after graduation as a Jesuit volunteer for 10 months, and then moved on to banking in investment. No, so what motivated you eventually after volunteering for Jesuit volunteers to join banking?
Okay, thank you for the question, Ed. But before I answer, I just want to siguro get to know the audience. If possible, guys, can you chat in sa chat box where you are calling from or where you are dialing in from? So ako, just to share, I'm from Tugigaraw. So baka may mga taga Tugigaraw dito or may mga Ilocano dyan, iba na, Bitawes. I'm curious. So just to keep this a conversation. I don't want this to be a conversation between Ed and me alone. So let me know kung saan po kayo galing. Wow, Abra. So I've been to Abra. So Marikina, Camarines Norte, Ilocos. Wow. So iba-iba pala, no? From different places around my Zamboanga. Wow. That's good to know. So thank you. Thank you
from
for
Quezon Province.
For dialing in. So I'm honored and I'm happy to be here. For Ed's question, that's an interesting question, Ed. No? So I started kasi my career sa NGO. And hindi naman siya masyado malayo sa finance. So I graduated math finance. Same with Glad, our host. Batchmates kami. And yun, so from finance, I was assigned as a just volunteering microfinance officer. And after
Mm.
my stint in the NGO, parang I just realized I want to maximize my course more. So sa NGO kasi, my course kasi is math and finance. So hindi ko siya masyado nagamit doon in a sense.
Mm.
So I looked for a job. So fortunately, yung prof ko, so we had this what we call practitioner seminar. So every weekend we have a professional from the finance industry. Ang name niya is Sir Mario Miranda. Sir Mario, naging prof namin sa Ateneo. And then concurrently, he's the head of BPI Asset Management Trust Group. So I submitted my resume after my volunteer stint. So luckily, I was accepted to their management trainee program. So BPI has this management trainee program called Officership Training Program. So that's where I started my career.
Mm. Probably, you made a very big impression to Mr. Mario Miranda, no? Na,
Di naman, di naman.
oo. That, na naka-join ka nga doon sa ano. Pero siguro din with the experience, no, and the profile, definitely it will help then at it will be a big factor din dun sa acceptance sa role sa
Mm.
officership training program. Okay. So currently, from what I understand, um, you are the equity central dealer, no, at Sun Life asset management. So what does an equity central dealer do? So that our audience can have an understanding parang as to what this role entails.
Okay. Very. So before I answer the question of what I do, I want to give you an overview first of what my company is. So I work for Sun Life, and as you know, Sun Life has products like mutual funds. So wherein people buy funds and then we manage them on their behalf. And then meron din kaming insurance products na may investment portion. So in a team of fund managers, usually you have three individuals involved. So one team is the research team. So they generate ideas, they forecast, they model companies, they meet companies. And then you have a portfolio manager. A portfolio manager naman decides on what stocks to buy or overweight or underweight versus the benchmark, which is the PSEI or the index, at least for the equities team. And then lastly, the third part of the team is the execution portion. So that's what I do. I'm the equity central dealer. So in our firm, sa Sun Life, so we have fixed income. Fixed income manages bonds, FX, mga foreign exchange, mga derivatives. Sa equities naman, we manage stocks in general. So we also have global stocks. So we invest in ETFs, exchange traded funds, and local equities. But most of our assets are invested in local equities. So just to give you an overview of our investment process. No? So the research team, usually they publish report. So they generate trade ideas, buy this company, sell this company, and every month we decide on what particular stocks to buy or sell. Once the portfolio manager decides, for example, they want SM, they then they create the order, they can execute the order, they generate the order, and then they pass it to me to execute the trade. Meaning, I am the one who directly buys and sells stocks in their behalf.
Okay, okay. So parang there is a process that Sun Life follows before any trades actually happen. No, there is an instruction,
Yes.
no, from the portfolio management team to purchase for the portfolio, and you are the one who executes that.
Yes.
Oo.
And we always follow the two-touch system. So two-touch policy. You always want to have two-touch for compliance purposes. So one generates the order, they can execute, and then the other one executes the order. So ako yun, tag-execute.
Okay. So yung the first touch is the portfolio management team. Is that right?
Yes.
Yes.
Tama.
Okay. So that's how the system works. Okay. Sige. I think it's a very good point that you raised, no? To give the students an overview of what is your trading perspective. Kasi
Mm.
I think a good distinction then that the audience should know is that there are different perspectives, no, from traders. There's like an asset management perspective, meron yung banking perspective, meron din yung trading firm perspective that focuses solely talaga on trading, and then there's also a retail perspective, no. Um, do you have experience then, or have you dealt with people who come from these other perspectives? You might also have your own. Do you also have your own retail trading portfolio?
Yes, I have. But if you plan to work for the same work that I do, no, do note na there are a lot of restrictions. So for me, for my personal trades, I can't buy a stock if our fund or if our firm bought or sold the stock plus minus 7 days.
Mhm.
So essentially, if you have an index fund, so we manage an index fund and every day we have flows for that. So usually you can't trade na local stocks. So that's the that's the shortcut of it. So it's very difficult to trade kasi nga you can buy or sell a stock if the firm manages it. So there are also different, so tama ka Ed, no? There are also different kinds of traders. So let me explain din the buy side and the sell side.
Mhm.
So the buy side, pag sinabing buy side, ito jargons na to sa markets. Pag
Mhm.
sinabing buy side, those are your institutional accounts. So yun yung mga fund managers, asset management, mga mutual funds. And then on the other side is the sell side. Yun yung mga brokers. So pag sinabing brokers, may traders din sila doon. But they are the call financial, sila yung, I don't know if you know yung mga BPI securities, BDO securities, UBS, CLSA. So they are brokers, ibig sabihin. So I'm a trader sa buy side. So when I execute the order, I send the order from me to the sell side. So I send the order to the brokers and then my trader din sila doon. They are the one naman who executes directly sa Philippine Stock Exchange.
Okay. Yes. So meron nga talagang distinction between different traders in the market, and they have different roles to play, no?
Yes.
Oo. Okay. Um, so let me ask you, no, parang as a trader, parang how do you start your day? Parang do you have like a routine na you follow? Parang before you start your day and then as you come to the office, parang what do you do? Do you have something like that? Kasi parang other people they play news, no, global news. Other people they go to bloomberg.com. Do you have something similar?
Yes, that's very important. No? So before you start your day, you should know what happened overnight. So for example, you look, kasi dito sa Philippines, paggabi sa atin, umaga sa kanila. So usually what happens is you look at the movements in equities. Pag sinabing equities, mga stocks, anong nangyari sa overnight markets? Up ba or down sa US? Sa London, ganyan. Kung up or down. Because once Asia opens, kunyari sa Asia naman yung 8 a.m., 9 a.m., you get a sense of what will happen on the Asian markets na rin. So if US is up, most likely next day, Asia is also up. So more or less, you can have a sense of what to do.
Mhm.
Next is news. So sa Bloomberg, we have this system called Bloomberg. So all of our trades are there, maraming news doon, or the articles are there. So there's a function called DAYB. So I just listen to that at the start of the day kasi it's a market summary na of what happened, of important news throughout the overnight
Mhm.
market. So more or less, it gives me a good summary of what happened. Aside from that, so habang students pa lang kayo, no? So I would suggest you start following sa mga social media channels nyo, yung mga CNBC, Bloomberg, Wall Street Journal. So para hindi lang yung feeds nyo magbabago eh. Kasi ako ganun eh. So
Mhm.
nakafollow ko sa Instagram, so nakafollow sa mga iba't ibang mga news outlets. Kasi for me, the role of a trader doesn't end once your work ends end of day. Kasi
Mhm.
tuloy-tuloy yan eh. You have to know what's happening sa crypto markets, sa Bitcoin, sa rates, usually sa rates yung pinaka-important, and sa equities. So, if your feed, di ba, sa Facebook mo, uy, ganito pala, nagbenta
Mhm.
ng stock si Elon Musk. So, more or less, may idea ka kung what happened and more or less you're updated na. So, once you start applying for jobs, so after you graduate, more or less may karga ka na or you know what happened
Mhm.
in the markets for the past few years. So nasusundan mo na. I think that's an advantage and I think that's something very easy to do. You just click follow, pero yung subconscious mo parang nagbabago na in a sense. Eh. So,
Mm. Okay. Actually in my previous role, I was actually also in market risk management. So for us then, it's also important for us to know what's happening in the market. And one way I do this is to subscribe to parang mga news podcast. Actually, meron din sa Google parang summaries, no, of news from CNBC, CNN, Bloomberg is also there, no. So that's one way then to get a quick update kung ano nangyari habang natutulog tayo,
yes,
'di ba?
that's great, Ed. Parang let me try that nga. Yung sa podcast, usually I run din sa morning. So yung mga podcast, ganyan. So yes, so I think BPI has a product for the local. So usually kasi if you open Spotify, usually yung
Mhm.
mga US eh. So if you want
Mm.
local naman, I think BPI has a version of that. So more or less mga
Mm.
news naman dun is mga local companies. So which is very relevant din for me because that's what I trade.
Mm. Ayun. And if you I think meron din si ANC, no? Um, para if you also want a feel din siguro of not financial news pero something that could affect the financial market, 'di ba?
Hmm.
Okay. So after you complete yung morning routine mo, no, like you get a feel of what happened overnight. Um, so as you enter the office and then you sit down, parang what what how do you start your day? So parang how do you start your day in the office? Parang do you do a meeting with your team or parang do you do some checks first before you open your day?
We have morning reports that we generate.
Mhm.
So one of the reports that I generate is the ano yun? Model deviation report. So every
Mhm.
month kasi we have model weights. So for example, we want SM to be 10% of the portfolio, Ayala Land to be 8%. Ganyan.
Mhm.
And then parang binabangga namin siya with the current holdings of the fund. So for
Mhm.
example,
Mhm.
9% kami sa SM. So more or less, may kulang akong 1% na kailangan bilhin sa SM. Parang ganun. So that's
Mhm.
something I do personally every day. So just to check what happened. And then, in terms of huddles, we usually have a Friday meeting. So sa
Mhm.
Friday meeting, all the news, all the developments throughout the week, we discuss during that meeting. So we don't do every day, but yung everyday namin is yung sa workplace chat or sa Viber group. So we have
Mhm.
Viber groups within our team. So all the news articles that you think are relevant or interesting, you just share it to them. And then yun, you get to be informed with other people. Kasi even if you read the news daily, yun din pala. So you have to read the news daily then. Inquirer, Rappler, and then you go to the business section. But there are things that you can't read and it's very important and very valuable if a teammate will share something na you didn't see siguro or ganyan or you want to flag. Yun, parang ganun. Siguro, may I also ask sa audience natin, ano yung course nyo ngayon? So I'm just interested kasi baka I'm telling a lot of finance jargons, hindi pala lahat finance ba? So ayun, so we have accountancy,
financial
financial
management,
entrepreneurship. Wow, so most of marketing. Nice. So thank you for answering.
Okay.
May question dito, Ed. What podcast daw to follow? Siguro yung suggest ko yung BPI, yun. Kasi that's very relevant for me. Kasi local yung nila, updates.
Okay. Yeah, I think if you're for audience no parang talagang yung access is local o important nga na local yung news na ma-receive nila, and I think BPI nga can give very relevant news for their portfolios. So ayun. So guys, keep please if you have questions or if you need any clarifications on anything that we are discussing, please send them in the chat box. No, I will be happy to raise them to Sir Rod, no, so that we can have clarification on your questions. Okay, so Rod, no, after our team huddles, no, parang dun nga very important din na we get a feel of the news, especially with our team, no, probably may mga perspectives din sila on matters para baka may nakikita sila na baka hindi natin din nakikita, no. So okay, so after yung mga morning reports, no, yung model deviation reports, how do you after that, parang what do you do then? Parang what happens, what's the next step that happens in the day as an equity central dealer?
Okay, so yung equities market, so sa Philippines, PSE, opens at around 9:30 a.m. So, once the market opens, kailangan nasa desk ka na, bawal ka na umalis dyan.
Bawal nagkakape ka pa.
So 9:30, since today we are in a pandemic, diba? Under pandemic pa rin. We don't have a lunch break. So tuloy-tuloy yan hanggang 12:45, which is, and then magka-close 1 p.m. So throughout those times, actually nagla-lunch na ako sa desk ko na kasi 12 noon yun, pinapadala ko na lang yung food sa dito sa desk ko to eat. Ganun. Usually, I check for the flows. When you say flows, yung mga brokers kasi, they post what they are buying and selling for the day. So the brokers, so I usually look for example, and then I wait for the orders of the portfolio managers. We have two types of orders. So the first one is the monthly rebalancing order, and the second one is the day order. So siguro if you will take CFA, you will encounter these terms. So day order or parang day, it's just available for the day. So it's good for the day, GT, diba? Yeah. Once the order is entered, at the end of the day, mawala na siya. So it's just available for one day. So I can execute that every day. But in Sun Life, we have what we call good till a particular date. So it's a 2-week worth of trades. So for example, if the portfolio manager enters the trade today, I have 2 weeks to execute that particular trade. So I can actually time my buys or sells. So for example, there's a buying of SM, and I think the whole market is kind of up today. So PSEI is kind of in the resistance levels right now, 7.3, 7.4, 7.5. So for me, if I have a buy order of SM, I won't execute it today. Maybe I'll wait for the market to correct first, ganyan, before I pull the trigger. Yan. So usually, the start of day, I just look for flows. For example, they're selling SM. Kunyari, a particular broker is selling SM. Then, if I have a buy order of SM, yun yung first na broker na puntahan ko. Parang ganun. So, in institutional trading pala, guys. So, ito, tip ko rin for you if you want to enter the industry, if you want to become a trader in the future, open your stock brokerage accounts as early as now. So, kahit 5,000 or kung magkano yung maipon nyo, try to invest it in the stock market na just so you can have a feel and you have an experience right away on how to trade and the emotions that you will feel. So sa institutional traders, this is my value add, no? Bakit ba kailangan may separate trader pa for institutions, no? Maybe you asked that question. Sa institutions kasi, for example, one of our funds is 50 billion pesos. So 1% of 50 billion pesos is 500 million pesos. So if a portfolio manager wants to increase SM weight by 1%, I have to buy 500 million pesos worth of SM. So malaki yun. Kasi if you will trade in the market, you won't see an offer. So sorry, baka jargons na mga sinasabi ko. Ano? So wala kang makikitang 500 million pesos worth of selling sa market sa board. Sa PSE board. So if you start trading sa stock market, may bid offers, ipopost yan. If you're buying, you will buy the offers. If you're selling, you will sell the bids. If you look at the board, wala kang makitang 500 million pesos worth of selling dyan. Hindi sila mag-post. Usually 1 million, 2 million pesos, 10 million, 50 million, but not 500 million. If I want to buy 500 million pesos worth of SM, doon papasok yung brokers. So that's the role of brokers. Maghahanap sila ng sellers for you, or as I mentioned a while ago, I look for flows. So kung may isang broker selling ng SM, magko-cross na lang kami. Parang ganun. So I'll tell the broker, I'll buy your 300 million pesos worth of SM na selling. So magko-cross na tayo. So we won't impact the market. So usually yun yung mga exciting sa job.
Kasi parang no, ang laki nga no size, 500 million. So pag binato mo yung order na yun, pwedeng maging market moving yung order mo eh.
Yes,
no?
market moving, tama, that's the term.
Oo, so parang yun yung iniiwasan natin. And yung role ng broker, correct me if I'm wrong, is to help you find sellers to fill in yung 500 million order mo.
Yes,
right?
tama. That's why you have a trader on the other side. Yun yung mga sell-side traders. That's their work naman.
Ayun. Actually, si Earl Vinuya from PUP, I think familiar siya. Yup, it will definitely move the price. Yes.
Yeah. Yes,
Earl, baka may
si
question
Earl,
ka dyan.
si Earl ba nagtitrade pa? Familiar siya sa market. So that's
Oo
good.
nga
Earl.
eh.
So ako personally, now that I am in this industry, if I'm trying to hire someone na trader, very important for me kung nagtitrade ka na before. Kasi I don't know if you're familiar with the term, we call it market feel. Diba? So you can research all you want, you can understand all these companies, but if you don't have a market feel, na you can only build if you're already trading, and I think that's an advantage. You have to stake your money in the market para you feel this, and you need experience and time. So head start talaga for me if you are already trading. It doesn't matter if it's a real account. So you can dummy trade, I think sa Instagrams, kung mga ganun program sila. Paper portfolio. So it doesn't have to be real money, but you can start trading as early as today, even if you don't have any money.
Kasi I think yung market feel is parang it's a gut feel no. It's something that's very hard to learn through books.
Yes.
It's something that you should experience, right?
Tama.
Oo. Okay, so from our audience, idol po namin yan si Earl, certified trader. Dalawa pa sila. Okay. So I think we have one question here. So to clarify, will the institution typically buy near end of day or midday so that their orders will not pump the prices? No.
Oh, that's a very valid question, no? Sino to? So just to give you an idea, bakit if you ask, sige, sige, baka mag-flood pala yung ano. So most of the trading happens towards the end of the day. Bakit, no? Ba't kaya ganun? Ba't hindi sa start of day, ba't nasa end? One of the reasons is the flows. So if you buy a particular product, for example, you buy an index fund today, may cut-off yan 10 a.m. yata or 11 a.m. If I buy, kunyari, 1 million pesos worth of index fund today, papasok yung fund na yon, malalaman naming traders yon mga 12 noon or nung before mga 1 p.m., 1:30 p.m. Nung full day pa yung trading. So all of the orders come late in the afternoon kasi nga you have a certain cut-off, kunyari 10 a.m. So lahat ng orders masasummarize or makokolate yan mga 12 noon na. Pag alam na namin, kunyari may inflows, so we look at the subscriptions and redemptions, we compute for the net sub-red, yung tawag namin subscription redemption. So if we have an inflow of 100 million pesos, we have to deploy the 100 million pesos today din. Kasi if not, the prices may move and baka hindi na same yung price tomorrow. So usually you see most of the trades towards the end of that.
Okay. And I think we have another question from Glenn Habalde. Do some institutions place ask orders to let retail traders sell? I think if institutions accommodate yung parang accommodate retail traders so that they can have so that they can sell to market, parang is that practice?
Usually nag-meet na lang yan sa board. So if you're a retail trader and you are trading sa board, that's the same board we're trading din. So most likely you won't know na if it's retail or institutional. Halo-halo na yan once you trade sa stock market.
Okay, so we have one from our trader, Earl Vinuya. Do you prefer pre-pandemic trading hours or the current trading hours?
Talagang nag-trade si Earl. Pwede bang mag-on ng video si Earl? Sige, explain ko lang for those who are not familiar. Before, ang trading is 9:30 a.m. to 12 noon, tapos break from 12 to 1:30 p.m. Babalik yun 1:30 p.m. Magsasara 3 p.m. 3:30 p.m. something like that. So before ganon. Today, open 9:30 a.m., close 1 p.m. So dire-diretso. For me, my preference is today, dire-diretso. Just because we're in work from home, para, alam mo yun, tapos na. And I think this is better din for people who are, di ba marami pang restrictions on mobility today. So people kasi, after trading, you need to book those trades. And people who are sometimes employees of Sun Life or mga brokers, they have to stay pa longer if we end the trading hours at 3:30 p.m. So usually 5 na makauwi, 6 p.m. And if it's difficult to move, especially today, baka mas mahirapan sila. So for at least during pandemic, I prefer early out for everyone. for everyone's safety.
Mhm, mhm. Okay. We have one more question, no, from Ron Batigas. Yung question niya is, aren't buying or selling automated? I think buy and sell orders, aren't buy and sell orders automated, no?
Yes. Actually, Ron, medyo advanced ka, no? Sino ba to si Ron? There's what we call an algo trading. So, ito, ma-realize nyo to if you take the CFA. There are different benchmarks. So, we have implementation shortfall, we have VWAP or volume weighted average price. In our firm, Sun Life, we use implementation shortfall, meaning if you execute an order or if you place an order, whatever the mid price during that time, so kunyari, ang bid is 30, bid is 30, offer is 31, so you get the average 30.5. That's my benchmark. VWAP, on the other hand, volume weighted average price, you will get the parang average price for the day weighted by volume. So that's your benchmark. Parang ganun. So, algorithmic trading, so may mga ganyan. So, you can just instruct the broker to trade it for you. Tapos parang robot na yung magbabay siya throughout the day. Depende on your benchmark. So, for example, if your benchmark is VWAP or volume weighted average price, so if I have, kunyari, I have to buy 100 shares of SM. So, uunti-untiin na yan. Every time may mag-trade, kukunti, bibili siya 1 share, 1 share, 1 share, ganun. Or, depende, kung TWAP naman, time-weighted average price, so the 100 shares na order, i-divide niya, kunyari is 60 minutes remaining. So, every minute, magdadan siya ng 1 share, 1 share. So, pwedeng ganun. So, but not all trades are automated. But tama ka, Ron, you can actually choose to do algo trading.
Parang it would just depend, no, on what benchmark would you like to use, kung VWAP o implementation shortfall. Bahala ka na which one you prefer, no? You just have to understand the mechanics of each, I think. Yun lang din yung what you need to understand then. Okay, we have another one from Everly Joy Core. Is it possible for a fresh grad to get a job related to trading, or is it a job given to people who are already inside the institution? From your experience.
From my experience, I didn't start right away as a trader. So I started as a research analyst, actually. So I started with research, and then I was moved to the trading room. So sa mga ano kasi, so for you guys, just so imagine, sayang meron sanang picture, napakita ko sa yung pictures how our trading room looks like. There's what they call an aquarium. So bawal ka pumasok doon kung hindi ka taga-trading room. So parang meron pa kaming access card, ganyan, so papasok ka, tapos parang naka-blinds yan. So hindi mo makikita yung nasa loob. So that's what we call an aquarium. So I started as a research analyst. And then eventually I transferred to portfolio management. Sa BPI kasi before, portfolio managers are traders din. So you decide on what to buy and you execute din for yourself. So more or less, nagte-trade na rin ako at that time. And then that's when I transferred to Sun Life, I became a trader. So I know some people who are who go straight to trading. So meron naman, you can see people. But again, they already trade the stock market even before they went in. So imagine, if you are a big institution, would you would you trust someone who doesn't have any experience to trade for you? Parang hindi, di ba? Parang wait, baka anong gawin nito, parang ganun. So very important to practice even before. Kahit paper or ganyan. So but again, you can actually enter kahit wala ka pang experience, but at least for my experience, I started muna sa research.
parang from what I see, no,
Hmm.
it's not parang it's not a common thing na when you join the financial industry, straight ka kaagad, especially for the institutionals, like banking, asset management, insurance, diretso ka kaagad sa trader. Unless, as you said nga, no, Rod, na may trading experience ka na. Siguro din factor din that the institutions want you to hit the ground running as soon as possible.
Yes. So usually they want someone with experience na.
Oo, para siguro so that you can make money for them agad.
Yes.
Oo. Um, okay, so we have another question from Christian Simon. When executing large orders,
Mm.
how large of price differences are you willing to take given that large orders can't be executed at one go?
How large? Depends. So usually
Mm-mm.
you want to talk with the portfolio manager, no? Um, for example, you want this stock so bad. So pwedeng sabihin mo dun sa portfolio manager, kunyari, you start kasi your day with flows, di ba? So if walang flows, you already called all the brokers, wala silang mahanap na seller, but you want to buy. So your only option talaga is to buy on the board or on the market. Parang i-hit mo yung mga offers. If you hit offers kasi, the tendency is the price to move. Now, you have to ask the portfolio manager until what price are they willing to buy. Kasi minsan, super taas na doesn't make sense din eh. So, good question. There's what we call an or better order. So, explain ko lang din para meron kayong idea. There's a market order, there's an or better order. Market order, pag sinabing market order, at any price, execute mo na yan. I don't care if mag-up pa yan 5-10%. I want it executed. Minsan, we do that if we need to fund a redemption. So you remember, di ba, kanina, there are buying and selling requirements for the fund. If we see a sell or a redemption in the fund, we have no choice. We have to execute that order no matter what. Otherwise, pag di namin na-sell yung stock na yun, masya-short kami, and that's the worst scenario for all the traders out there if ma-short ka. Anong ibig sabihin ng ma-short? Kailangan mo nang ibayad yung redemption to the client but you don't have cash available. Usually that happens for index funds because for index funds, we keep a very minimal amount of cash. So to answer your question, depende sa PM and depende sa nature ng order. If the order has to be done, so we can't do anything kahit pa ba 10% down. Especially with rebalancing, I don't know if you're familiar with index rebalancing, mga must-done trades yun eh. So if you notice pag rebalancing days, sige, medyo malayo na yata. So, yun na lang muna. Maraming jargons.
Sige. Okay. So we have one question from Owen Patrick Moral. Can you recommend any newsletters or magazines that they can subscribe to for financial markets? No, I think partly na address natin to earlier, no, for na they can listen to yung podcast ng BPI. Pero do you also have other newsletters na you subscribe to or
Kasi
magazines?
for me, most of my news come from brokers din eh. So they publish kasi, and there's a lot na for that. So, but I do subscribe to Bloomberg Technology. Ayan. Bloomberg, marami na yan. Actually, minsan, ayaw mo din sobrang dami kasi hindi mo na mababasa lahat. So, but I prefer Bloomberg Technology because I also want to understand what's happening outside, especially today, di ba? May GCash, may Paymaya, if you know what happened to other markets before, more or less, you can predict what will happen here. Medyo behind kasi tayo versus the other markets. Eh. So, I can recommend yung mga Bloomberg. Since students pa lang kayo and I was a student before, di ba? Like, siguro like Ed and Glance. So, wala pa masyadong pera. That's my point. That's the reason why I want you to follow yung mga free lang, yung mga Bloomberg, CNBC, Wall Street Journal. So, just type siguro sa Google, top financial news organizations. Yan. So follow nyo silang lahat. Yun. So, yun, I think that's a great start.
Marami na sila makikita nun.
Maraming free. You don't have to pay actually. Maraming free sa internet, lalo ngayon.
Okay, we have a question again from Glenn Habalde. I've seen several block sales, but I'm curious why these block sales that has huge value will not affect prices. Are these what you refer to as cross trades?
Yes. Oh, okay. Let me go to medyo, ako kasi technical analysis din ako eh. So, I don't know if you're familiar with support resistance. So, every time a stock goes to support, magbabounce siya, support, magbabounce siya. What you want to look at is the volume. Diba? So, every time ba nandun na siya sa ilalim, pero nasa-support na siya, one of the things that you know na mag-hold yung support is if you're seeing crosses or big chunks of trades being traded in the market. Anong ibig sabihin nun? Ibig sabihin nun, the institutional buyers and sellers like kami or yung mga kunyari, yung mga nasa outside investors, mga buy sides sa abroad, Singapore, Hong Kong, they think the reason why a stock is going down, someone kasi is selling eh. And most of the time, that seller is big. And if that seller is big, you want to sell across multiple days. Eh. Sell. Pero, if you notice, if a particular stock is already trading here and you see a lot of crosses na, ibig sabihin, another institutional buyer is already willing to buy at that price. Kung malaki tong seller na to na nagpapabagsak and a big buyer is trying to cross na with this particular seller and you see large volume in market, cross trades, yes, yun yung mga block trades, then you more or less, mauubos din kasi yung seller eh. Diba? At some point, maubos siya kasi may malaking buyer na rin yung bumabangga. Then you can, as a retail trader, this is a tip for you guys, then you can say na, may mga lalaking blocks na. So most likely, baka bottom na to. So you can speculate using that time. But again, volume is very important and you want to look volume every time.
Okay. Sige. I have a personal question, no? Parang
Yes,
siguro for the benefit din ng audience, parang what characteristics are important, no, for someone to thrive in a trading career? Parang what would you say are these characteristics are parang to be successful in trading?
Yes. Number one, you want to be calm. So, iba-ibang culture experience before sa BPI, maingay kang mag-trade dun before. Yung mga iba, nagbubura pa. So, that's one, that's part. Kasi you want your price, kasi kunyari, a price is going down and you want to buy, you have to buy na at that price. Diba? So medyo hectic siya and a small move in price, kunyari 1%, if you're trading 500 million pesos, malaki yun ha. In peso terms, malaki siya. So, you want to be calm all the time. I don't know how to teach how to be calm, but maybe other traders, they do meditation, they do exercise. But yun, sana hindi ka matataranta, ganyan, lalo kapag may mga may errors, ganyan sa trading, and that happens. Sometimes, I buy a particular stock, yung pala sell yung order, or I buy 100,000 and then 200 and then 50,000 lang pala yung trade. So that happens, di ba? So yun yung mga you want to be calm and you want to parang you parang uhaw ka sa knowledge. Kasi what's exciting with trading is every day is different and you are always wrong. So the market always says you're wrong. So yun. So you want to learn, you want to read a lot, you want to be curious enough. What's happening here, what's happening outside, what's the trend, what's your forecast here. So yun, you want to be a lifelong learner and you want to be calm.
Mm. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, to our dear audience, unfortunately, we are out of time, no? But let us thank our speaker, Mr. Rod Barrett, no? Please show your emotions, no? Show your reactions for Mr. Rod na how much we appreciate him for sharing his time here at PJFIS. Okay, do you have any last words, Rod, for our audience?
Oh yes, thank you again no for inviting me. It's actually my passion to share what I know, and if you want and if you have any questions, you can follow my Facebook page. Yung pangalan ko is Rod Barit. I post there mga fintech, mga kung anong mga naisip ko about finance. Kasi right now we are in a digital phase na nag-iiba na eh. So
Mhm.
trading
Mhm.
is becoming more advanced. So just to give you an example, no? If I trade a stock today, that settlement is T plus 3. Meaning, if I buy a stock today, I will give lang the cash 3 days from now.
Mhm.
And if you want to ask the question, bakit kailan umabot ng 3 days? Diba? Ang tagal naman.
Mhm.
If you're trading crypto assets right now, if you buy today, you get the coins right after, di ba? After a few
Mhm.
minutes lang, di ba? Why do you have to wait for 3 days to settle a particular security, di ba? So, yun, kung gusto niyo ng mga ganong content, so you can follow. Meron din akong YouTube din pala. But I post more sa Instagram and Facebook. But I update more sa Facebook. So just follow me. And thank you guys. If you want to be a trader, I highly encourage you to take the Chartered Financial Analyst. To enter the industry is very difficult. But if you have a CFA under your belt, I think that's already an advantage. Kasi that's global, standard, and you want to be ahead of the pack. And one of the ways is to study CFA. You will learn a lot. Implementation, shortfall, VWAP, lahat yan nasa CFA, lahat yan. Technical analysis nasa CFA din yan. Blockchain nasa CFA din yan. All the relevant things you can use right away day one sa job nyo if you study CFA. And that's a big advantage. So I highly encourage you to take the CFA.
Totally agree, Rod. Thank you, Rod, for sharing us with so many insights, no, for our audience. Okay, so let me to proceed with our closing and announcements. Let me hand the floor back to Miss Gladys Guelas to deliver the closing and announcements. Glad?
Thank you, Mr. Rod. Thank you, Mr. Ed. As a token of our appreciation, we present you these e-certificates. CFA Society Philippines presents this certificate of recognition to Mr. Rod Barit, CFA, for his valuable contribution as speaker on the topic of On the Job, a Trader's Day at the Philippine Junior Finance and Investment Summit 2021. The future starts now, given this 12th day of November 2021. CFA Society Philippines presents the certificate of recognition to Mr. Edward Fernandez, CFA, for his valuable contribution as moderator on the topic of On the Job, a Trader's Day at the Philippine Junior and Finance Investment Summit 2021. The future starts now, given this 12th day of November 2021. Let's just have a quick photo op with the guest speaker and moderator, please.
Okay.
Okay. Wow! We are done with our day 3 of the Philippine Junior Finance Investment Summit 2021. The future starts now. So we'd just like to announce the winners of the trivia quiz. It's Josh Ron Vicente and Mon Gabriel Lagustan. Please send us a message to our PJFIS Facebook page for instructions on how to redeem your COL investment credits. So as Rod mentioned, you can start already your investments with your credits prize. And moving on, please do not forget to complete the evaluation form for today. Remember that the completed evaluation form is part of the requirement for you to get your e-certificates. We will see you again tomorrow for the last day of PJFIS 2021. The future starts now. We'd like to thank our sponsors. For Platinum, we have MSCI Philippines. Our gold sponsors, AP Securities Incorporated, COL Financial Group Incorporated. Our silver sponsors, Atram Trust Corporation, DBP Daiwa Capital Markets Philippines Incorporated, Papa Securities Corporation. Our media partners, Business World Publishing Corporation and Business Mirror. Our event partners, Bureau of the Treasury, the Philippine Stock Exchange Incorporated, and Securities and Exchange Commission. See you tomorrow for the last day of PJFIS 2021. The future starts now.